what up, Headspaces? Viwe, the brother from the ancient Mada. Once again, another Headspace album review. Now, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, you are being tuned into South Africa's most poignant hip-hop podcast. We talk about the exclusive issues regarding the politics, the power, and progress of South African hip-hop. And if that's your kind of thing, why haven't you subscribed yet? Please subscribe. Please check us out. Please check all the other videos out. We bomb fire like that. Now, Big Xhosa and I, off the record, we're talking about how a lot of rappers in this generation's internet credited buzz confuse trend with actual influence. And what this does is that it creates this dynamic where just because people think that they were part of a mass collective moment of attention online, they think those online moments are enough to trickle into real life support, real life attention, and subsequently a real life engagement with an audience. Is that true? Is it not? I tend to rest on the latter. And why am I talking about the difference between trend and influence? Here's an MC who basically surfaced as a trend. Rapper by the name of SOS, who donned the gimmick of a Big Xhosa as a kind of like a funny, sarcastic response to the fact that we have a Big Zulu. And in that, last year dropped a coy diss track aimed at all of the South African rappers. Now, this is something that's happened for as long as the internet have existed. People realize that the attention economy of the internet means that the easiest way to have an attention of people is to be able to create sensationalism, is to be able to create the kind of solicitous shock value that will at least get people to click and take a little bit of the time to see what you're talking about. And this is exactly what SOS/Big Xhosa kind of brought himself into the attention of. And yes, it did cause a lot of, hype. But does this hype match up to an ultimate legacy factor that is significant in and of itself? I say no. Big Xhosa releases an album. The album is called Almost Time, and I find the title ominous because I feel that he is very ambitious to the core. And that's not only a part of the hip-hop spirit, but it's a part of the capitalist spirit. He's somebody who wants to succeed at all costs. He's got his eye on being the quote-unquote greatest. And I do think that as an artist, he's got the features for it. He's got an original voice. He's got an approach to the Xhosa rap landscape that could distinguish him from other artists who are doing their thing in Cape Town, where he is from, where you have a diverse array of different styles, from your Holy Alphas to your Dikualas to your Boot Legends, you name them. Cape Town is filled with Xhosa rap that is beautifully diverse in the way that artists approach it. I think Big Xhosa, when given the opportunity to realize how he can distinguish his own voice and most importantly tell his own unique story. Almost Time opens up with a soundbite from that other podcast, from those other trendy people who are also in that mode of shock value, and I think that's telling because it's important for him to know that he is acknowledged by this world of online attention. And his album in and of itself carries a certain level of self-belief that kind of borders into an arrogance. That this is an artist who feels he's already at that point where people know who he is. And he probably has a point. He probably has a point that when your name is a hashtag on Twitter enough, when you have been able to become a trending topic, you do linger in the back of a lot of people's minds. But again, don't confuse being a trending topic with having actual influence. Don't confuse people knowing your name for them actually knowing what you're about. And I think it's the latter that the album doesn't address. There's a disconnect. Big Xhosa aims for the typical trap tropes. He's talking about his own greatness. He's making fun of other rappers. he's talking about just this general ambiance of being a trap artist in the environment where it matters that you are the one that turns up and sets the mood. And a lot of these songs are feel-good renditions that speak right into the scope of what trap is about. No original beats, the kind of sound that we know is typical, and again, that's not a bad thing. These beats are precisely sculpted to fit into the marketplace, and they bang. Can you play this project in the club? Yes, you can play enough of it. There are songs here that have catchy hooks that are able to kind of have the spaces that allow for Big Xhosa to neatly fit into what's going on right now in the scene. You can hear a Big Xhosa song being played after a Blackie song, and it wouldn't confuse you, but it would make you ask, who is this person? Because a Blackie, a 25K, and all of these other artists who have their names and identities really embroiled in the current South African youth scope have told their story. We know where they come from. We know why they rap. We know how they catapulted to this point of current rap ascendancy. But for Big Xhosa, we don't. And I think he thinks we do, because he's trended enough and has become a talking topic enough times to be on people's lips. But Big Xhosa, above and beyond the gimmicky videos, above and beyond you doing a sway freestyle, above and beyond using internet attention, what's your story? Who are you? Where do you come from? What are your fears? What are your desires? Do you have both parents? Did they raise you? Do you have nuances as a part of your life? Do you have siblings? These are the kind of things that draw people to an artist. When we are in the music able to identify with deeper parts of what this artist is about. And these are the kind of things that make artists stand out as something than a mere trend. So he confuses in this project his trend power with actual power of influence. And as a result, it carries across a real disingenuous fallacy that he is big, pun intended, when he isn't. When as an artist, he kind of drowns in many of these rappers who are trying to make it. And this album doesn't speak to anything particularly interesting. I'm going to quote Dave Chappelle in something that he said to Trevor Noah. He said when picking Trevor Noah for one of his lineups, that I didn't pick you because you're funny. Everybody knows you're a funny guy. I picked you because you are interesting. And that's what people like. They're interested in stories, in the nuances of the human condition, in parts about what people are that speak to us, surprise us, shock us, and interest us. And Big Xhosa hasn't done that. He doesn't do that in this album. He doesn't carry across who he is. I don't get him. I don't feel him. All I feel is this character assuming greatness, hopping on top of typical beats, and not doing anything more other than just karaoke. And that ultimately is what this album becomes. It becomes a karaoke-esque, campy rendition of where SA Trap is right now. So as a result, when he says it's almost time, I ask myself, for what? For us to understand who you are, for us to respect you, and I still have this question. And after listening to this album, I still am baffled and I'm asking myself, what is it almost time for? And my closest answer is that it's almost time for you to realize that your trend is not real influence. It's almost time for you to realize that having people's attention is not the same as having people's respect. So ultimately, this is what I feel it's almost time for. It's almost time for Big Xhosa to start realizing what it's going to take to actually set him apart from just another campy gimmick to an actual artist whose story is going to be able to be authentic and relevant in where we are right now as a people. Ultimately, I must give this project a 3.5 out of 10. Why? Sonically, it doesn't do anything new. It is not exciting in any way. It is not groundbreaking in any way. It is typical, but it is achingly typical, because granted, the lyrics sit in places that are fitting. Matter of fact, I I do suspect that there might probably be a writing team besides this, because there are moments that feel that Big Xhosa is not speaking with one consistent voice, and it feels like there's a whole lot of ideas and languages and styles of rap that just don't feel natural to how he's been rapping if you've been following the course of his build-up. So that's just my own reading into it. But ultimately, the 3.5 comes from the fact that it doesn't even border into an average project, because for it to even get there, you have to bond with the artist and who they are. Then the rest is how it technically comes together, how it's able to match up with the concept. So if what he was trying to do is tell us that it's almost time for him to be the guy, it's far from saying that. If what he was trying to do is tell us that it's almost time for us to have our eyes on him and his journey, then he doesn't do that, because he isolates us from who he really is. It's covered in a veil of gimmickry and consistent tropes that, again, don't speak to who the man is. So 3.5 out of 10 for me. The ultimate message is, Big Xhosa, maybe it's time for you to stop seeing the industry as some kind of big conspiracy against you, because you think that your trendworthiness is enough for you to be the guy. It's time for you to actually go back and take what you've gained from trend and use it to have an organic engagement with your audience. We want to know who you are, and if you're going to have this one-dimensional humoristic angle where if you're not making fun of somebody, you're mocking somebody or dissing somebody or criticizing somebody, that's not what being a person is all about. What are your fears? What are your ambitions? What are your desires? And nothing of that is deeply spoken to in the way that I think an artist can reach out to a core audience. My name is VJ, the brother from the ancient mother, and these reviews are approached from what the artist is trying to do. And I think in this particular album, Big Xhosa hasn't gotten to that point of stardom that he clearly wants. And as a result, the ultimate condition of it all is that we have an artist with ambition, but who doesn't know how to navigate himself to his destiny. And a lot of rappers are in that predicament. We've spoken about this in many of our episodes. How can rappers conquer South Africa? We can have the link to that episode in the description. We've talked about how if you rap and you live in this country, you can start to understand how the cultures and the industry works, and how you can actually start to garner an audience for yourself and get to a place where you understand what success means. We've addressed all of these on the Headspace, the meaning of success, the seeming paths to the glory and the power. So we'll put the links to all those videos in the description. Again, please subscribe if you love our content. Big Xhosa in the background or there, sometimes next to me. For these reviews, it's VJ, the brother from the ancient mother. Shout out to Big Xhosa and the rest of the Xhosa trap movement doing their thing. I really hope these things are interpreted as a way for us to build each other and grow each other. We do this for SA Hip Hop and its progress. Love y'all.